I think weekly meetings now, when we talk about things, those look like there's zero cost, but remember, if you're going to have your entire team there, you got to pay their hourly. So, $10 an hour, I'm sorry, 10 people times $25 an hour is now $250 meeting times 4 weeks in a month. That's $1,000 you're spending. So make it worth it.
Right. And it's valuable. I mean, we teach
Yeah.
our team or clients on the value of morning huddles and prepping
Yeah.
their practitioners and their docs for the day so that they really understand who's coming in, what their chief complaints are, and any possible suggestions for cross referral of patient charts where it makes sense.
Mm.
So if we're working with multidisciplinary practices, we like to talk to all the different practitioners to understand like what their mission is, what their main demographic is, and what overlap there could be, because it doesn't only benefit the practice, it largely benefits patient outcomes.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's another thing that, yeah, you're going to be paying your team for those meetings, but it's going to grow your business for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with the value. I just think people go, "Oh, a meeting doesn't cost anything." No, there's a hard
Cost.
cost.
Yeah.
Like, especially if, I mean, I'm sure you've seen that, like one or two providers in a practice, yet there's 13 people on the payroll,
Right.
So we agree team meetings are important. What's something where you think, hey, regardless of the cost, or there's a minimum cost of X amount, $5,000, it's just worth it to spend that money, swallow it because it's going to make everything better. I don't
Mm.
know, redoing your front reception area or redoing a bathroom or a piece of equipment you think is worthwhile. What would you say?
Well, the environment that you set up in your practice is very important. I think I definitely tend to gently push my clients into revamping their websites and creating content that is valuable to their demographic and the individuals that they're looking to bring into their practice, and that we create a lead generating website for them. Um, which is different. It's not just a pretty thing to look at. We want to have smart AI chatbot. We want to have a really nicely looking FAQ section. We want to have some blog posts on there that's specific to their practice and the brand messaging that they want to evoke. So it can be a little bit of a cost, but I think it goes a long way, especially if they're dumping thousands of dollars a month in marketing and they're not really connecting that loop between all this money in marketing, but like not really building trust online before that patient comes in.
Yeah. Let's peel this away a little bit because I do think that websites are, it's one of those things where it ranges from, hey, do it yourself or Squarespace or Wix, and it's going to be $5 every year or whatever. It's super cheap. And then you see some providers that are like, hey, we can do it for $50 a month. And then you see 15 grand build outs, and I'm like, wow, like where does this happen? So for a really good website, I just want to talk about maybe the cost and the time. And we go back to like, this is my little litmus test. If somebody's selling you ads but doesn't have a follow-up system, I don't trust them immediately because they know that in healthcare, you have to follow up to ads. You just have to, right? So in this case, what do you think a minimum amount of time? So like we had our kitchen remodeled back in the day, and it's like, if somebody comes to you with a $8,000 kitchen remodel, like the cost of materials is way higher than that. So there's no way they could possibly do that, right?
Right.
What would you say is a good amount to say, like, hey, it's going to start here, like at 5 grand and go all the way up to 10 grand, and under 2 grand, there's no way you could do it. Is there a price where you think like this is what you're talking about? And then second number I'd love to talk about is how much time should the clinic owner and their team invest in the message, the describing the services, describing what we do and why we do it. Why do we have a, shockwave machine or red light therapy or whatever? There's inherently time that it takes to just add that information in, right? A website without information is useless. Um, so the minimum amount of dollars and the minimum amount of time invested.
I think it depends on who you're going with to build your website, because I mean, you can get quotes from companies where they're going to be charging you $15,000 to build a website, and then a monthly fee just to host the website upwards of, $600 to $700 a month. Like, those exist, and they exist for a lot of different disciplines. We've tried ourselves to minimize the cost, but increase the impact. And so, because we're a small consulting agency and we do have our own website developer, we're able to offer things at a lower cost. And our websites range anywhere between, $3,000 to $5,000, and we use platforms to build that. But we also are able to use a lot of plugins for that, and a lot of features that enable the practice owner to make edits if they need to on the back end.
Yeah.
So I think the ranges are huge, and then the monthly cost ranges are pretty big as well. It just depends on who you're going with.
You're like that. I remember there was a cooking show on the Food Network where the woman was like, instead of cutting up all the vegetables yourself or doing all the prep, she's like, at some point, just get the canned tomatoes. Like, you're just going to save yourself a bunch of time. Like, you're using some off the shelf things because they're just faster and easier, right? But you're still cooking the whole meal. Like, you're taking all the best ingredients, and like, don't use those tomatoes. They're not that good, but you don't have to grow the garden, harvest the vegetables and all that. So you're kind of blending that in a way to bring value, but also, where shouldn't we carve this thing out of pure stone?
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Trust Driven Insights, brought to you by TrustDrivenCare. Imagine a world where all your patient communication is in one place, seamless, effortless, and on autopilot. That's the power of Trust-Driven Care. If you're ready to streamline your practice, check out TrustDrivenCare.com and see what's possible. Trust-Driven Insights, real conversations, smarter care, stronger business.